I'm gonna restore this when I finish this information I'm going to tell you. This is no bike stand that I need to restore because it's really rusty and I need to get all of that rust off. Let's start the video. Well, when you hold it, it tells you how heavy it is. So it's 99.5. That's how heavy it is. Now, it's about 9, 7. Some screwed up tin foil for extra fun.
My assistant technician has found this Pirelli moped stand in the garden and decided he wanted to make a video on restoring it, including the correct way to weigh and measure it before you start removing the rust. He was very excited when I gave him an even more important job that has transferable skills from this one.
These are scouring pads. And this is a wire brush. And this is a screwed up piece of tin foil. And the thing that we're restoring right now is this. That's quite heavy. It's a brake caliper, but it's quite heavy.
What car's it off, buddy?
Wartburg. It is that new for me and Daddy, but it's actually quite old.
And who are you?
Buddy.
And how old are you?
5.
Good lad.
So this is off of Wartburg, and I like the Wartburg. And some oil went out when it was on the table.
That's okay. Ignore that. That's why you're wearing gloves.
And that's why I'm wearing gloves. This is off of Wartburg, and Daddy wanted me to restore it, even though I wanted to restore it for quite long. So that's why I'm restoring this today. It's basically 1 second, but look how much I've got off here. Quite a lot, but this here, there's just some orange bits that I don't really need to get off because those need to stay there, but I need to put this back down. Quite heavy. Look how much I've took off. Quite a lot, but I need to wash that. But look how much I've got off. I've got most of the rust off, but I'm going to carry it on tomorrow if there isn't enough time to. And if there isn't enough time, then I would have to do it another day. Goodbye for now, but if we can't do it another day, then we would have to do it next weekend. So bye bye for now.
So the next job was to remove the brake pistons. Now, as most of you should know, I'm not a mechanic and I'm muddling through, and I don't know how you would do this in a workshop. I imagine it would probably involve compressed air, but I suspect there's probably an even easier way that I don't know about, so feel free to leave that in the comments. However, I wondered if it would be possible to do it with just a tyre pump. So I've got this little adapter that screws into the brake caliper, and it's like a brake line reducer thing, but the outside of it happens to be just about the right size for a Schrader valve coupling. So I'm trying to pump it up and see which one moves first, because the brake pistons are in sets of 2. Whichever one moves first gets a G-clamp around it to stop it going any further, so the more stubborn one gets blown out with the compressed air. It's going. So I got the piston out, and that one's free running. So this is how I'm getting the brake pistons out.
But then why aren't you wearing any gloves?
Because I didn't have time.
I'm going to get you some gloves.
It's alright, I'm finished now.
Daddy,
One side done. This idea was suggested to me by Richard from Fitter Part on Southwell Road in Mansfield, who's been really helpful. He suggested it as a possible way of doing it for people who don't have access to an air compressor, and actually it works quite well. For the sake of time, I did actually end up using my air compressor for the other caliper, but if you're in a pinch, if your air compressor's broke or you don't have one, then this way does work. So that's all 4 pistons out. There's now 1, 2, 3, 4 very stuck looking 6mm Allen bolts. I've had them soaking in GT85 all night. I have managed to crack this one loose, but I need to take them apart because these 2 halves come apart, and then I can get in and hone the bores where the 4 cylinders were. So this one's coming okay, but also I had to hammer that 6mm bit in there, so hopefully I'll be able to get it back up again. That's better. Easier than I thought. Oh, it even came out. Brilliant. This one's a bit harder to do. But we've got it. Well, you can certainly see it needed doing. So next stage is take all the rubber parts out, clean the inside, possibly hone the bore on these because it's the same hone that I use for doing cylinders. Do the same to the other one, and then start putting it all back together once it's all fully clean. There's bits around here that need cleaning as well, and I can get to it better now that it's in half. These are the rubber seals for the little passageways that also need replacing, but they're all in the kit, so that's good. There's basically 2 seals per cylinder. One of them's like a dust seal and one of them's a proper seal in there. And you can see the remnants of the dust seal on there. And then these little rubber seals here that join the 2 halves together. Looks like the little passageways inside need cleaning out as well, because there's, I mean, that's one of the cleaner ones. That one was definitely due. So I'm glad I did that. This is the same 3-stone hone that I use for honing out the cylinders on mopeds. However, it does say on the packet that it's supposed to be a brake hone, so I figured I'd try it for that purpose. What could go wrong? I'm resurrecting a tradition on this channel of when I haven't got enough time to do anything at home, I bring it to work with me and do it on my lunch break on a bus. I thought while I was here I might as well use this brass wire wheel to take off any rust that Buddy couldn't get. So the one on the right here is the before. You can see the inside of it's mucky and horrible and needs honing, and the outside of it's dirty too. The one on the left here has been honed and it's had all the rust taken off the outside with the wire wheel. I don't think I've done a bad job, particularly for 20 minutes outside a train station in rural Leicestershire, and I've got a 40-minute break, so the other one's going to get done. So the sonic cleaner is now up to temperature. I suspect it might not fit in the basket because it's only a little sonic cleaner, but we will see. Maybe it will. That's going to be too big. Which is a shame because I don't like doing it without the basket in. I think it gets better cavitation going if it's not stuck on the floor of the sonic cleaner, but it is what it is. It might not fit in there at all yet. Man, that's annoying. Fit in that. Okay, that's the best we can do at the moment, so I'll have to turn it around after a while. When I change the fluid, I'm going to use diluted, but at the moment I'm running it on straight elbow grease. These bleed nipples could do with cleaning up. They're looking quite corroded. I'll probably end up replacing them if I can get the replacement part, but there might be some oddball thing you can't get, so let's see how they look. Here's a life-changing little top tip I picked up from Darren, the genius from the Musty One channel. Check him out, it's a fantastic channel. If you get one of these little mesh tea strainers here, you can put your carb jets in it, or in this case, little bleed nipples, and put them in there. They'll cavitate nicely and get clean, but you then won't have to find them on the bottom of a murky tank of scalding hot water at the end of it. Top tip, try it out. So I didn't make it to the pub yet, at least, because we had unexpected company. So I'm here to turn it over. Oh, that looks cool. Yeah, that looks decent. God, it's hot though. It's only supposed to be 40 degrees. It's fucking roasting. There we go. We'll stick it in another hour, aren't we, really? Right, so both halves of the caliper are now cleaned up as good as I can get them. I've been on these with for ages with a brass wire wheel. I've had a Scotch-Brite disc on here. There is a bit of pitting on some of these brake pistons, that one in particular. So I don't know if they're actually going to be any good, but that one's the worst actually for pitting. So I don't know if that's going to be any good. I think it's just above the line of where the seal goes, so I think we might be alright. But then of course there's the dust seal over the top. So here's the kit I've got. It's basically every one of these holes gets a square cut seal, and then the inside of this clips on the outside of there, and that lip there has metal in it. It's metal reinforced, and it clips on here, and that's all of them. I'm just going to get a bit of brake fluid to dab them with for lubrication, and then we're good to go. Brake fluid .4. Nasty stuff, brake fluid. It's also hydroscopic, which means now that I've broken the seal, any moisture in the air is going to get trapped in the brake fluid and cause pitting and damage to your braking components, so that's always worth remembering. If I use half this bottle, the air that replaces the brake fluid that comes out, say it's full to there, then all that will potentially be air containing water that will end up in the rest of it, so you don't want to leave it too long half full. Right, so in with the square cut seals. Not as easy as I thought it was going to be. I do hope all this stuff's the right bloody size as well, because I bought it off eBay. Am I jinxing myself? Oh no, it does seem to have gone in. So, bit of brake fluid in there. I've got that O-ring in there now, so I'll be doing the other ones and then smearing brake fluid on them. See if I can get this in one. I assume there's some sort of trick to these, but I ain't got it yet. It's that bit, look, it twists at the end. It's quite hard to get it in straight. Ah, that's done it, right. Lovely, other half. Next I'm going to get these brake pistons and put these on. Pop them over. I think that's right, I think that's how they go. Then a little bit of brake fluid on the inside of the bore.
Daddy.
Yo.
Hello.
Hello mate, what do you know?
I'm going to get my
Oh yeah. Yeah. Having a go at. It's plenty on this corner, on this edge then. I suspect not. Ah, in we go, look. Slowly. We're in. And then push that down all the way and push the seal on. Beautiful.
Hi guys. buddy?
These are little rubber seals, buddy, that seal
Yeah.
these oilways here.
Oilway.
Yeah.
Oilway.
So you put them in there.
Yeah. Then you put the next one on.
Like that. And that seals so the oil can get through there from one side to the other.
Oh, what's that? It's like a straw from the cup of water, and it goes through the straw to your mouth.
That's exactly what it's like, yeah, except it's so your brakes can drink.
Yeah.
Yes.
But not humans, otherwise humans die.
Humans don't drink. What are you talking about?
They do.
Right.
Watermelon.
Don't start faffing. Give us that back. I need it.
Okay. Chop.
Mate. Buddy,
Chip.
it's taken me 2 months to get this far. Please don't mess it up now.
That's a lot of months.
It is 2 of them.
Daddy, I'm not going to ruin this video.
Thank you,
I'm
buddy.
so confident on this video because I said hi and everything.
Cool, that's alright. So here's your before and after. It is a mock-up. I've not finished it yet. I've got to take this apart and do some other stuff to it yet. But so the spreader clip hasn't been put on yet and other stuff. But for now, you can sort of see the difference. So this is the one that I've done, the near side one. This is the offside one, and you can see just the amount of corrosion that I've managed to pull off there. It's a world of difference, isn't it? I mean, even such as like, look at that shit. That'll all come off. There's plenty more meat on these new pads as well. Just so you can see, compare and contrast. That's the new and the old dust cover. These are the new and the old caps for the bleeders. I think the pressure expands that in the gap inside. That's why the older one's bigger. Not really much difference on these square cut gasket things, but a nice fresh one can't hurt, can it? I'm using these brake pads. There we are. Is there a part number or anything? There we go. And this kit here, which is apparently for a Skoda Estelle, but that's where all the rubber parts came from. So I'll crack on and do a bit more if I can. So here's the caliper. I'm very happy with it. I'm just going to finish putting it back together now, but I've realised the main problem with this car was that I have no service history with it. It came with absolutely tons of paperwork but no service history, and I figured since it's only me and the MOT man that are going to see these, I might as well use some caliper paint to mark them in such a way that I'd know when I refurbish them for future. And then if the paperwork gets lost again with the service history or anything, then I'm gonna know, aren't I? So that's the next plan. I've degreased it with brake cleaner, and I'm going to quickly mark it up with paint just so that I know that it was August 2023 that I did it. And here it is, a lick of paint and a sticker, and everyone in the world that sees it will know that it's from summer 2023. So now I've let you in on my little joke with the MOT man. That caliper is done, and we're going to move on to the next one, which unfortunately is more corroded in every way. I'm going to try and skip through it because you've already seen most of how everything's done, but everything on this is more corroded, so there will be some points of interest. The first of which being that there's literally no way of getting these pins out on this one. I struggled a lot on the last one. These are getting chopped off. As you can see, these have been cut flush with the body of the caliper. I've managed not to damage anything other than the pins, which is quite nice. I'm going to spray them with some penetrating oil, keep soaking them in that, and hopefully I'll be able to drift them out with a punch or something. While we're on, have a look at the uneven wear on these brake pads. You can really see that on that side the piston was moving and that side it wasn't, so it's a lot thicker on the right hand side, which sort of tells me that the piston on the right is stuck, and that's going to be the most interesting one to get out and also the most important to fix. So here is the first caliper that I did. It's now finished. I've put it together properly. It's got the spreader clip and everything in it. I'm quite pleased with it, to be honest. I am mildly worried about the pistons, the original pistons going back in it, so I may end up replacing at least one of them because I have a spare one, possibly all four. Here are the bolts that came out of the other caliper that I did off camera. You can see I rounded one of them off, so I had to get creative getting that apart, and I've replaced them all now with hardened steel ones. I think it was hardened steel to start off with, so I guessed, but I got the right size bolts. Here's one of the pistons from the other brake caliper, again the off-camera one. I bought this piston originally to replace that one because that was the worst of the bunch, but I've decided that all of the pistons in that caliper are not good enough, so I've now bought a kit. There is the number for the piston. Here's the specs on the piston, by the way, if you need to buy one and aren't sure if it's the right one. These are bleed nipples. I was starting to round off and chew up the hex part of the bleed nipples, so I just replaced the whole lot. So both calipers now have got new bleed nipples, new screws, and mostly new pistons will be coming. Now, it would have been a lot cheaper. Here's the prices of the original parts I bought. It would have been a lot cheaper just to have bought the kits in the first place, it turned out. I didn't think I'd need to replace as much stuff as I did, and I didn't want to spend 45 quid on a kit, not sure if it would fit. However, I now wish I had saved up and just bought the whole lot, but there we are. You live and learn, don't you? So if you do this, buy the kit. This is the other caliper that was done off camera. I'm waiting for the kit for this. It won't be here until end of September, so I'm going to release the video now, and I hope you enjoy it. Then the next one will be fitting them, putting the car back together brakes wise, including new brake lines. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching.